Good morning, everyone. So the correction continues, a little bit more to the downside. And we've got a continuation pattern set up yesterday. Not a great one because it's happening, looking at the spiders here, it's happening right on this support level. And the next support level isn't far away, which suggests that the downside, as we look at this chart, would be limited, at least for today. That's the assumption when we look at what is and where support is and what the trend is, which is beginning to change from an uptrend to a sideways trend. And we're just going to have to see how far this goes. So here's the 180 and the ideal 180s, which this isn't, as I said, the ideal ones happen. Let's just say this had gone down. And here you've got a little void down here. So ideal 180s is maybe this was down several days. It breaks some support, which this did, and attempts to go up, which is what the green bar is, the attempt to go up, and flips right back down again. And so then you get a move into what we call a void, which is a void, lack of support, any significant support. So since this one is right here, we assume and based on average true range and what is to the left there, that buyers would show up in that area. So as we look at that, we see where they are right now. And just our cursor, and it's just at the bottom, it's at the bottom of yesterday's range. And it's just holding there. So this, what should it do? Right? Every pattern that we look at has to be aligned with a trend in multiple time frames and support and resistance, voids, relative strength and weakness, and so on. So being down here, and the way it fell yesterday was pretty aggressive, and this is just the overnight trading, just stabilize here. Continuing to go sideways for a little while or an attempt to go up that fails would break below yesterday's low, and I would think it's going to go down, 660s lined up with something, but ultimately down here. And why wouldn't it stop at that low? Well, it could. I mean, but it already did. So that reference point to a certain degree has been used already. But going into today, what we want to see, since prices are down here, do they rattle around? Can this turn right back up again? Which, bar by bar analysis, what we're looking at now is the current moment. And what happens during the day, we'll see together. But for them open, going sideways down here would show its inability to retrace back up, and then a following break, we look to go lower. Simple. Right, SPX, I'll get to that right now since we're here. And things have tightened up a little bit since earlier this morning. As prices have stabilized, the numbers were further apart than what they were at this moment. Let me just double check. Yeah, still there. So obviously, as we showed you, prices are here. They're below 6,700, which is where the large open interest is expiring in 30 days. Is a relatively large open interest in calls and puts there. So the tendency for that is to kind of drag prices back up to that level. That would primarily be the case if we were closer to that expiration, which we're not. That's 30 days away. Currently, the large open interest expiring at the end of the week for calls is 6,800, and for puts is 6,750. Interesting. So I look at that and think, is that bullish or is that complacency that there isn't a relatively large open interest in the put options? We're just going to see how it unfolds. Right? In any event, unless some significant news item comes out, it's unlikely it's going to push back through this area. As always, we're just going to see how it unfolds. The put strike being down here, it's never going down there today. I mean, it's just so ridiculous, and it shows how aggressive or how worried option traders are that the market is going to crash. Maybe there's some information out there that I'm not aware of. It's certainly very possible. For whatever reason, that yesterday's down bar would get them to pay up for options down here, and just reasonable thinking based on average true range, support levels, would lead me whole numbers is never going down there today. And I think it's unlikely it could even get to 65.50. But if it does, there's a major support level here that's below a whole number. So, I mean, it's just common sense when we look at what the information that we have to view. And from there, we'll see what unfolds. But it's reasonable to think, hey, any move down, say from here to here, a whole number and support, at least intraday buyers are going to step up, and then we'll see how that unfolds. And if it continues to move down, you go look to the left to the next level. That one's a half number in an area where there are multiple pivot lows down there. So this is a major support level. And coming down here would, I think, in my mind, would be amazing, ridiculous, a surprise. So I don't think that's possible. All right. Let's look at IWM, which is already rolled over. And this is a better 180. So it already broke down under major support. The gap down, it rallies back up, right back down again, and plenty of room to fall. It's consolidating here, maybe some type of attempt to go up that immediately gets sold into. Like if this topping tail bar right there, if we were to take that and put it over here, that would be a signal to go short. Now, if we look at this, we should, without the overnight trading, you see that it's retesting this. Where is that in relation to? Let me see here. Oh, shoot. I closed that by mistake. Damn it. So it's just gapping down a little bit below yesterday's low. And it's the overnight trading. And gap is really not going much of anywhere. And it's got a void up above because of the wide range bar. So we need a signal bar, right? Meaning intraday, if we're going to short it, we need a signal bar, which we don't have yet to be unfolded. It's sitting here on that swing low there. So ideally, some a little more consolidation or a breakout failure. It's not that big of a gap, and 1.5%. Yeah, it was lower. Came close to got relatively close to 230. So it's got some consolidation. We'll see. We can rattle around there. So first thing at the open, as always, we're just going to watch and see how things unfold and which way it might be able to get above this level here or not. Right. Qs, they're just hanging down there. Like everything else, they're just hanging down there at the lows, just waiting for the open and I suppose news. big down bar. And you can see over here the AD line, AD advances minus decliners at the end of the day, was a bit extreme. I mean, it was a lot of selling yesterday, and our day-to-day breadth is still not at a level. But I can't show it on this particular platform, but sentiment is moving in the right direction, right? After these couple of down days. So the breadth is getting closer to a bullish level. One of the sentiment gauges is on its way there too. So I'm hoping for another down day, as we go into the NVIDIA earnings report, and maybe comes out. You see it sitting on support, and it's just hanging down here, really not doing much of anything. I mean, who wants to get aggressive in front of that report? But we'll see which way this goes because of the whole AI bubble conversation that's going on, and all these companies spending all this money on AI, and that's creating problem, which is here's an AI ETF, and you see it's right here on this neckline and this 180 as well, and plenty of room to fall. Okay. Bitcoin inching back down on the whole number. Major support on the weekly time frame. I hope it gets down there. Let it keep dropping. That'll create a very large void up above, and then we look for a stabilization. Something like this 5-minute chart here, this retest and reversal, something like that on the daily time frame would be great for longs. We'll see how that unfolds. Right now, it's just flip-flopping. Let me do this. Duplicate this because I want to see the higher time frame. And there you go. Lower highs and lower lows, and some stabilization at the whole number. I just poked underneath it a little bit. Crude oil is down a little. It's really not doing much of anything, just marking time. Gold is just hanging here. You're starting to get a little bottoming tail bar. Buyers stepping up, a little pullback. We'll have to see where that ends the day, and see where silver is. All right, so that's stabilizing as well. Needs a little bit more time to settle out. And bonds. Just kind of rattling around here. So we wait for NVIDIA. We wait to see if we get some more downside. Hopefully our internals line up bullishly with a little more downside price action. And we get ready for the Thanksgiving Day rally that usually unfolds. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. But even with the Thanksgiving rally, it'd be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's already next week. It's right around the corner, but even with the rally, it'll be interesting to see how far it gets. Because my recollection is in the past, the Thanksgiving rally has kind of been a continuation of already, a prior bullish time. We'll see. We'll just trade the charts like always. All right, I just saw this thing moving on the ticker FCX, and it's not earnings. But that's 30-minute high put spread idea. I got 2 alarms going off. We have fairly light inventory. This AEP, we're waiting for a closing breakout. It's utility, looks great. As a directional, you can buy over the high. Microsoft, we only have 2 open credit spreads, and that's unfortunately one of them. It's gapping right to our short strike. So that was a bullish short-term turn. As triggered yesterday by taking out Friday's high. I don't know what's going on today. If they have, and that's an ugly gap. If they have news even more so than the broader market weakness, and then we put on a following call spread yesterday. That's gapping down, so that should be in good shape. A dash is a day trade watch. Beautiful 15 strength here. Amazing strength with the broader markets gapping down. So I'm gonna put, so that's like a tier one day trade long. Once once we get a turn, or not, well, yeah, smaller time frame turn. Like whenever we say, okay, I think the coast is clear for a scalp or a day trade long, this is going to be a go-to. But I, like Greg, will be watching for zero DTE put spreads on whatever horseman sets up. Although diamonds doesn't have them, zero DTE, and diamonds are actually the weakest here. Free market, that's all my alarms, but it's probably courtesy of Home Depot here getting whacked on earnings, glancing up at my Cal 30, and yep, the biggest other downer is Amazon down 5, that Microsoft. But yeah, this is Home Depot down 17. That's shaving off a lot of points. But this gap into 341, it's a gap and snap candidate. Gap and snap. So I will be watching that for a day trade long and on 3 DTE put spread. These are other earnings now because those are all my alarms going on. XP 1850. Maybe that's a buy setup on support. I'll set an alarm at 1880. No, not a tier one like the dash is a tier one 360. It's a nasty gap. Right, MD? I don't know what they do. Could it be a day trade long? Sure. If you feel like watching it for 5 or 15 minutes set of HP 25 and change, no pattern. Ecom 7150. Now that's a horrible quality buy setup. But it's actually a condor candidate. Get out of the money call spread, out of the money put spread, so we'll come back to it and consider it at 10 a.m.-ish. Glad. This is the one that I said yesterday, if it opened flat, short yesterday's low. So I'm going to set an alarm at 1890. That looks horrible. Look at closing breakdown. And it's not a bullish gap at all. It's only gapping up 30 cents. Now, could it have been a shock gap if it opened up at 20? Yes. Yes. But if it didn't, and it's not. But I'll set an alarm at 1950 anyway. And what did I say? 1890 on the low side. And Depot, we looked at P. Diddy. We did a condor on this. We did the 117s. And what's the other one? 117 and 143. We did just a $2 wide. So I'm just bidding a nickel to get out. We had $6 a cushion of the downside. but we sold it at 47. And today's Tuesday, so we got 4 days of risk. Probably happy to get out of the nickel. Electronic, 30-minute low, possible call spread. I mean, that's an amazing move into earnings, but pre-market's holding low. Baidu 108, there's a big void here. I have no idea where this is going to stop. This is a price void, this momentum move. I mean, this thing could come all the way down with a 200, who the heck knows. Flar, recent IPO. The CEO was on TV. I think I caught a word or two. I think this is a competitor of like a firm, buy now, pay later, I think. And the announcer was asking them about their credit exposure and this and that. And I think I heard him say that their average account balance is $100. So can any of you speculate what my initial reaction to that is? I mean, we don't have time for quizzes, so I'll just tell you, well, it's not a quiz. It's what's your reaction to that statement? Mine overwhelmingly was, man, oh man, oh man, there's an entire business model of people who can't pay $100 bill, that they need credit to buy something for $100. Now that sits with me because of the economy. That you got that, they've been talking about the poor people are getting poorer and the rich richer. And then there was an article in today's journal, or maybe it was my local paper, that people are getting behind on their utility bills. So the point I'm emphasizing is there's a lot of people hurting. And Joe Kernan was emphasizing yesterday about the 3% inflation. It's like, dude, this 3% is per year on top of the Biden 28% cumulative inflation we just suffered through. So things are more expensive, man. I told you, my friggin' Obamacare insurance went up to $1,800 for next year. I mean, how many people can pay $18 a month? It's astronomical. And the service gets shittier. So I actually do like Trump going after these big insurance companies. Futu, nothing to do. Condor setup though. Another Condor if you can get the 200s and the 150s. I think I did look yesterday and there was no premium. 522, this is a bullish gap over a red bar, but there's no price void. Alpha Sierra, now that's a pro gap. Look at it gapping up here to 34. That's a pro gap. Yeah, you got declining 20, declining 50. It's gapping over 2 pivots, a month of data. Problem is you don't have a great void for directional, but let's watch a pullback. And also put spread. Bravo Zulu, $20. That looks like a 30-minute low short. Let it rattle around for 30 minutes. 1828. So that's an igniting gap. I don't call this a pro gap, but it's because it's just a bounce in a downtrend, whereas that Alpha Sierra was igniting a new move. See how we use those. A pro gap is a big significant gap that ignites a new move. That's how we define it. And then there's a whole category of, well, it ain't a pro gap the way we define it, but it's a bullish gap. This is a bullish gap. But a bullish gap does not mean buy it. A bullish gap's a bullish gap, period. Just like the sky is blue. A nice trader asking, how do you usually use a 10-minute chart for long rallies? The answer is I don't. You don't see me. I don't ever have used a 10-minute chart. I use a 5, 15, 65 daily, weekly, and we'll drill down to a 2. Um, so I mean, not quite sure your question. We use multiple time frames for the type of trade we're trading all the time. All right, here's Berber. I got in the middle chart. This is a gap and snapper candidate, gapping down 250 or $3. Okay, good. So this is already down from 37. So this is a great gap and snapper candidate, but we gotta babysit the snap, the turn. Whiskey Bravo. Let's see. So this one, even though it's down 5 bars, this is not a gap and snapper candidate. I mean because that's a power. That's just gap and a bearish move. ENR 18. So this is an igniting gap lower. Man, that is pain. 1866. Man, this thing's gapping under all of this. That's gapping to a yearly low. It's a big gap. It's a monster percent, but it's bearish. So I have zero bias. But it's such a big gap. I'll watch it. And I've been watching so many big gaps lately that are not bouncing. Like, look at Learned. Look at this thing. Nasty gap on earnings. It's just continues to grind lower. The burrito stores, no pattern I've been watching. Those are all the earnings. Let's see what miscellaneous stuff we got. Expedia sold off yesterday with the news of, I think, Google doing something in the travel space with their AI. Ribbons, a buy setup. I got an alarm at 1505. AEP we talked about. This is an igniting breakdown, closing breakdown. I will set an alarm at about 1578. That's a 30-minute low. Short I do. Yes, as we know, Bitcoin's been getting killed. So I got a couple of these Bitcoin miners here I'm watching. These material stocks have been selling off. I got some alarms. They just, look at that. They all became climos, and I was pounding the table over here of shorting these things. And it sure worked. Thermal, look at that. It's nasty, just grinding lower. CLS, there's no turn yet, but I'm going to watch them. YUMC, 30-minute high idea. Speedy, I mentioned. Honeywell got a downgrade, but there's support. And Tua has earnings in 2 days. What? Look at this thing. This thing ripped this morning for some reason. Look at that. Thing went to $700. I don't know what the news was, but that's an incredible move. All right, region alarm. Why did my region alarm go off? We still have a third of this. It looks great. We're in trail mode. I must have had an early alarm. I'll just reset. Qs, spiders, diamonds breaking down here from the 5-minute pre-market consolidation. All right, AEP. All right, so let's do 5-minute high now, AEP, just because with the market weak, I don't want to Um, I don't even feel like buying the gap fill. And just gonna relax here. Yesterday, we were not pushing the throttle at all. And I'm amazed I don't have any more pulled off. All right, this P. Diddy I gotta watch here. It's taking out a, we still got $5.75 cushion, but I am not filled yet. Well, because the market makers at the donut shop is why. Why do I say that? Because he hasn't opened the quotes yet. So he must be eating donuts. All right, maybe he is opening. Wow, these things are holding. This makes no sense. 117's $5 away is showing 60 by 87. Makes no sense to me. But it says the midpoint is 25, so we're still, even at those ludicrous numbers, we're at 50% of max profit already. Dash, I said tier one, I'm not doing anything right now, but I still like that for day trade. Bitcoin breaking out of a pre-market consolidation. Microsoft bouncing. We have a put spread that's going against us. CTRE. Up alarm. Let's tighten the stop. So this was one of our longs yesterday. 36.36. Nice. Yeah, the longs we did yesterday were all kind of weird symbols, so they were not typical tech beta things. Mara up alarm. All right, let's close I close the put spread. So maybe I'll try to get out of this. Just now I just got the call spread. Then I'm gonna bid 40. I'm gonna bid 3 cents. All right, I got filled. All right, so that's weird. Um,
And there's premium on MU at 260 at the end of the week.
All right, so I'm out of this PDD, but I actually got out of it in two different orders because of the stupid spreads, but I'm out. Okay. Yeah, 1 second.
Yep.
You, yeah, but we talked about it yesterday because of it on the video. I don't feel comfortable. Do you?
Just pointing out it's far away. I don't know what it's going to do.
I know, but we've had this talk and that we do things like this, and then
Then
after
don't do it. Then
after we
don't
get
do it.
talked, we say, "Well, that was stupid to do it," ahead of the video.
Well, stupid's after the fact. The video could gap down and then you think you're,
No,
a
but
genius.
we came up with a rule. Let's said don't do it ahead of something like that. Here, look at Dash. I still like it's acting well. Um, all right, Home Depot's bouncing. There's a little small little gap in Snapper so far. 8 minutes. The buyers are stepping up, but you got lows today, but I think that looks like a short-term bounce. And this Berber I mentioned, middle chart. Yeah, that does not look right to me. There was no tail. I don't know, whatever. But Berber, the 20, 20s, there's spreads, 0 by 40 cents. So it's messing that up. I said Riot. Hey, Riot looks good. Riot, Lima. I posted pre-market as a watch. Greg your XLU up alarm. All right, so if this were to close like this, I love Thursday's high, 3 bar turn. We're done with P. Diddy. Let's put Riot down here. XLU looking a lot better now. We're already in it. An ETF letter. AEP, new entry, 124.48. That'd be a great 30-minute high if we get a 123. Boeing, look at the 197. It's 34, so we're going to take this stuff. 194. AEP triggering. Ah, shoot, wrong letter. Mm, this is a pattern. I prefer a bottoming tail. I think I like Riot better than that, Alex, because Riot is closer. It's down more, closer to support, closer to 200. But still, my entry is, as of now, is Thursday's high. Q's new low. So, I'm in no rush for longs. XP, this was an earnings stock. I said sloppy buy setup. That ain't bad. Let's get rid of Berber. Deck alarm. Oh, that's got a, I forget the news. Upgrade. Yeah, upgrade. That's a retest pattern. Disney didn't trigger yet. Wait, 104.90. No, Disney didn't trigger. The entry was down here, Disney. Disney 104.90.
Somebody doing very good.
Dash is still moving. That was my tier 1 day trade. But wasn't chasing at the open. Yeah. LMT was strong yesterday, but extended. MP alarm. This is I'm gonna wait to see how it closes, but this is our look up and handle, pull back reversal pattern. Cracks is another one that can't bounce, not after earnings. All right, Monster, we did a half lot yesterday. Let's get out of this break even. This Qs are making new lows here.